welcome. Thank you for joining us for a night of revolutionary reimagination. Welcome to Black STARSEED. I'm your MC, your facilitator, and your host for the evening. My name is Cortina Janelle Caldwell, and I'm the founder, creative community organizer for A Day Project. We are grateful and honored to be collaborating with PechaKucha Night Asheville for this event, as well as being hosted by the co-work at Center for Craft. Before we start, and as we start any program or event, it's really important to take a moment to honor and acknowledge those that have come before. I want to welcome you, your whole self, into this space. I want to welcome the ancestors who lived on the land where we are now. I want to welcome the original keepers of this land on which we stand and which we gather to do this work. We acknowledge fully and honor the Cherokee who lived in this area before the Europeans came, as much as 10,000 plus years before. Welcome. Welcome to the people of all genders, women, men, trans, genderqueer, straight. Welcome. We welcome those of African descent, our Black queens and kings, brothers and sisters, African Americans, Negroes, those that came before. Welcome. We welcome those that identify as Hispanic, Latinx, people indigenous, those that identify as Asian or other melanated beings. We welcome you. Welcome English, welcome Spanish, welcome all the languages that will be spoken here tonight, including the languages that are nonverbal, that are based on movement and rhythm and sound and can only be felt. We welcome our neighbors. We welcome our cousins, our friends, our aunties, our mamas, our daughters from all around Southern Appalachias and Western North Carolina, Asheville and Buncombe County. Thank you for keeping us, and welcome. We welcome those around the Southeast and the Global South, those from the North, South, West hemisphere, those that are far and struggling to connect to the internet. Thank you for making the strides and connecting with us anyway. We welcome you. Welcome to your bodies. Welcome to the different feelings that we feel in these bodies. Welcome to all the feelings that we feel in these Black bodies. We welcome your happiness, your grief, your joy, your trauma, your pain, your strength, and your celebration. We welcome love. We welcome hope. We welcome those dear to us who have passed on, and we welcome those who remain dear to our hearts. We welcome our light teams, and we welcome our elders, those in our lives and here in this very room. Welcome. Welcome. I want to take this moment to acknowledge this land that my ancestors and many of our ancestors dwelled on before. This land and much of western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, northwestern North Carolina, portions of Virginia and West Virginia, most of Kentucky, other parts still to be known and still to be discovered, are the traditional lands of the Cherokee indigenous peoples, as well as our Black African ancestors who were brought here against their will. For all gatherings by our Day Project, we feel that it is important as a means to acknowledging, not to say just welcome, but to emphasize the honor and the responsibility that we all have in being on this land today. The honesty that is existing on this land requires of us that we name and acknowledge. In acknowledging and when making a land acknowledgement, one must be ready to offer attention to the healing of our relationship with place and the people who are the traditional inhabitants of this land, as well as our ancestors who continue to wish their stories told. While we also acknowledge that the land is stolen, trauma has ensued, and how this all came to be, we can also make it clear to you that you are welcome in our hearts and that we are glad to be here with you, and we are glad that you welcome us in as equals. And so it is. Ashe. So, at this time in our program, we're going to move into hearing from our amazing lineup of Black Starseed story weavers who you probably have already started hearing in the background and got to experience earlier with the wonderful drumming, and just acknowledging and thanking you for taking the time to join us for this amazing ceremony and gathering on this once in a lifetime, I'm told, or once in, since 1949, maybe, that this particular moon on this particular day has occurred. So thank you for joining this once in a lifetime experience. And with that, I'm going to bring on our first story weaver.
so that it would not be lost after men would decide that power meant power over others. I carry the seed so that the knowledge would not be lost on this earth plane. I am a star seated in the earth. Thousands of years going back to the priestesses of Isis, the temples of Isis, and Mary Magdalene is the length of my maternal line. I carry their seed and the seed of those who would choose to be the sin eaters. I am the blood of the African people, the indigenous people, and the white people. I am the blood of the oppressed and of their oppressor. I am the shadow and the light. In the book, Sugar in the Blood by Andrea Stewart, she recounts of the white plantation overseer who kept a diary of the details of the rapes he committed against black slaves, female slaves, every day. This was in the country of Jamaica, the country of my birth. Where do you think that trauma goes? She tells of the young white boys who were encouraged to use our bodies to practice. Where do you think that trauma goes? Our babies taken from us. Sometimes our choice is to kill our babies rather than have them become a white man's slave. Where do you think that trauma goes? From the time I was 16 years old, I wanted a baby. I wanted someone to love that would be safe to love. I had already learned by 16 that family and being safe or feeling safe were not synonymous. I wanted to be a good mother. So I read books and I read articles because I just wanted to be a really good mother. I wanted to be the mother that I felt I didn't receive. I didn't know about trauma. I didn't know about the trauma of my mother, of my grandmother, of my great-grandmother, and onwards, that it would be mine to deal with. I didn't know that for all my intellectual understanding of what would make a good parent, the person that would show up would be reactive, volatile, explosive, easily triggered. I didn't know about trauma. I didn't know that my fate was to have my son not feel safe with his mother either. Our sacrifice is to bring you this message. When you don't address your personal trauma, when you don't address your ancestral trauma, you will pass your trauma on.
Thank you so much for that amazing and powerful delivery, Anlee. So I just want to acknowledge a couple of things that are going on for you all that are watching at home with us at YouTube. So I want to take a moment to acknowledge Megan Martell, who's a part of the PechaKucha Asheville night, or PechaKucha Night Asheville, I should say, part of the team, and is helping us out and supporting this event by moderating comments. And so as each presenter and as each story weaver goes through tonight, I'm going to ask you to join me in a process called collecting seeds. This is going to be a little bit different than you getting to clap. Obviously, we can't see you, and you can't really see us besides when we're here in front of the camera. So we're asking that you acknowledge something that resonated with you, that you felt grateful for, that was stated, that you felt was powerful or really riveted something, or you felt something in your body. We want to reflect and be in a conversation and a dialogue with you that way. So if you can, go ahead and start filling up the chat box on YouTube with some seeds for Anlee. And as you do that, I'm going to just make a couple more acknowledgments of our program. You also, in the chat box, for those watching at home, have a link to our official guide, which has not only the land acknowledgement and the ancestral acknowledgement and the welcome that I shared with you all earlier, but it also has the full bios and profiles of all of our presenters and speakers. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm also looking at this really amazing program guide. So you can also check out ways to get in touch with each of our story weavers if you want to follow their work. I know one in particular has an album dropping on 11/11, which you'll see more about. And we also have some amazing healers and artists that are here to share their message with you tonight. So definitely take the time to bookmark that program guide and to enjoy the show and engage in the show by dropping some seeds so that we can collect those and harvest those together. Sound good? Okay, I'm gonna assume you said yes. All right, so I'm gonna at this time offer some seeds back to Anlee before we move on to our next story weaver. This is the fun part. I wish there was kind of a drum roll, but ancestors, African people, indigenous, be a good mother, bring you this message, addressed your ancestral and personal trauma. These are your seeds, Anlee. Thank you, and continue to fill that chat box up, engage with us. We want to hear from you, and we want to keep collecting these seeds. At this time, we'll hear from our next story weaver, Black STARSEED.
I dedicate this presentation to my grandparents, Mary Elizabeth Addie Stewart Gwynn and the late James Walter Gwynn. Questions about their journey and their joy in learning the answers are what has led me here and kept me here. My grandmother just turned 101 2 days ago. My work involves going to search on digital sites like Ancestry.com and Family Search, but also visiting archives in many states, reading microfilm machines that look like this, traveling to historic sites where my ancestors were enslaved, and visiting with the elders. This is my grandmother with her aunt who lived to be 101. This collage shows the ancestors for whom I have photos. The largest portion of my DNA matches people from Nigeria at 18%. My mother's side of the family brings me most of my English, Irish, and German ancestry, but a great deal of that also comes from people who enslaved my ancestors. This is a family tree showing my dad's ancestors. Gray boxes represent enslavers who have been either named in documents or whom have been identified through DNA matches to their descendants. It shows more graphically how light skin is evidence of the rape of my foremothers. The diversity of my family includes Frederick Duquette, an early Black priest who founded a parish in Flint, Michigan, James Monroe Jameson, the first doctor to graduate from Meharry Medical School, Rex Stewart, a cornet player in Duke Ellington's band, and this lovely woman who I don't know, but her picture was with ours, so I claim her as a cousin. Newspaper obituary. Aunt Patsy Porter, colored, died after a comparatively short illness at the home of her daughter, Aunt Esther Brown. 2 days later, practically all of the best colored people from miles around, together with very many of the best whites, assembled here to attend the burial. Aunt Patsy was born in June 1819 and was almost 106 years old. Phoebe Sales and Charles Sales, my great-great-great-grandparents. Phoebe's obituary said, "She was a loving wife and a faithful mother. She bore her suffering with patience, and there was nothing between her and God." Samuel Mason was born in 1820, and his family was part of the Exoduster movement, leaving their homes in Tennessee to relocate to Topeka, Kansas. They included a lawyer, a doctor, and a woman's relief worker, and my great-great-grandmother, who we called Nanny Mason. This is Nanny's sister Pearl Mason with her cousin Jeanette, next to a painting that Pearl made. I love to think of her imagining this palm tree and perhaps having it framed in her room and having the spirit to make art. Addie Jane Johnson Stewart was my grandmother's mother, born in 1894, who lived to be only 25 and died after giving birth to my grandmother. 2 of her sisters lived to be over 100. It makes me sad to think of the lost potential. Mary Eliza Mason Stewart, Nanny, raised a son as a single mother, although she later remarried her former husband before a second divorce. She moved from Cripple Creek, Colorado, to Topeka, Kansas, then Nebraska, then Newark, New Jersey. But she and her sisters all traveled well into their old age. Mother Stewart was not only a good mother to her son, but she was also a good mother to her oldest granddaughter, Elizabeth Gwynn, whom she reared from birth as her own daughter. She carried out a promise that she had made to a dying mother, and she did it very well. Nanny also took Grandma to Kansas to meet her cousins and to Virginia to her mother's people regularly. That's the reason I was able to build such close relationships with my cousins who still live in the area. This photo shows my grandmother's aunt in the center on the left, and the photo on the right shows my grandmother on the left with her 2 grandmothers. When I think about Nanny and all the work she did, I think of the grind. She attended a beauty school so she could work as a licensed hairdresser. She ran a tea room and bingo parlor. She took in mending and sewed aprons, and she sold black ebony Christmas cards to her neighbors door to door. My great-great-grandfather, Robert Stewart, AKA Reginald Stewart, is described this way in a clipping in his son's scrapbook. His father is a great businessman. He's well known, a Western man, and of course his spirit of doing great things and his ability and all of his qualifications and activities have been handed down to his son Sylvester. Reginald, my great-great-grandfather on the left, is originally from Virginia, but his family was brought to Missouri as slaves. Reginald's son Rex wrote in his book, Jazz Masters of the 30s, that Reginald played violin, mandolin, and piano, in addition to singing in a quartet. Samuel Sylvester Stewart, my great-grandfather, was a World War I vet, a businessman, and a politician, the father of my grandmother and 5 other children. He worked for the mayor of Newark and also ran for city council. And this is a piece of art that he made featuring a poem called Heart and Home. He also painted many oils and watercolor paints and exhibited his art at the Newark Museum in New Jersey. I love to think of artwork made by my family displayed around their home, and I'm so grateful to have it. This is Nanny at her sewing machine with photos of a reproduced quilt that I made by having her quilt printed as a design on a new piece of fabric. I made this for my cousin who was undergoing cancer treatments so she could be wrapped up in family love. I don't know the ratio of nature to nurture that makes up our beings, how much comes from our ancestors and how much comes from the journeys we have taken ourselves, but I'm grateful for the creative sparks that flew from them and through me.
A powerful story once again. I'm going to invite you all watching. I see that there are 44 people currently watching us from home at YouTube. Welcome once again. And please drop your seeds in the chat box. What resonated with you? What was powerful about that sharing and that story and that message? What are you curious about? These are the questions that we want to cultivate as we build community and relationship with each other. That it's not just about clapping or giving applause, right? That it's also about saying, I see you. So share your seeds, and I'll start to share these so that we can hear your voice too. Singing, businessman, artist, heart, home. How wonderful to know your roots and elders. The quilt is love. And those are your seeds, Sasha. This time, we're going to welcome on our third story weaver.
Peace. Thank you for answering the call of spirit by providing this ceremonial platform to celebrate ourselves. Black women, Black Starseed, everywhere. The truth is that our womb rendered civilization, yet civilization has harmed us many times over. That is what makes tonight important. Black Indigenous women need and deserve more spaces where we are celebrated, valued, held, and lifted. In my community, I have served as a longtime community organizer, equity educator, and social justice leader. In my personal life and spiritual life, I am a mother, a singer, musician, producer, published poet, recording artist, holder of space, and empathic healer. All of these roles have provided me with opportunities to show humanity just how much I value it, how much I value you. As the adage goes, art imitates life. I believe that to be true. And I also consider artists to indeed be healers. Creativity is the great salve. It helps us mend the wounds of our own traumatic oppression, and it lends to the ways in which we love, care for, protect, lead, and fight for ourselves and our community. In this lifetime, I entered our planet obviously with some sense of urgency and zeal, given the fact that I was 2 months premature, the smallest baby in the nursery, but the loudest, from what I've been told. Now, none of the artists present tonight are probably surprised by this because they know me and my loud. But who I want to focus on tonight is not really me, but rather the line of Black Starseed mamas that I come from. Some are now ancestors,
and some are still on this side of the veil. You see pictures of these lovely women in the slides. Herbalist and midwife Lucy Anderson begat teacher and storyteller Lucy Virginia, who begat civil rights warrior Geraldine Virginia, who begat teacher, historian, activist Gwendolyn, who begat me, and then came my daughters. Each of these women elders were and are quintessential models of truth, social consciousness, empathy, compassion, service, and stewardship in community. From them, I learned how to lean into both my identity as a Black woman and my responsibility to leave the world a better place than when I entered it. I remember sitting at my great-grandmother Mama Lucy's knee, edified by her stories and fascinated with the way she'd tip her head back to laugh, deep belly style, reflecting on lessons that her 107 years on this planet had rendered. I remember volunteering at the voting polls alongside my grandmother Geraldine and sitting at mealtime listening to her speak passionately about her involvement in the work around civil rights. She was great at asking my opinion on some things, even from the time I was a young child. I remember my mother Gwendolyn always being a mirror for my sister Maria and myself. She taught us to lean into our identity, prioritize our creativity, know our history, find our sense of purpose, and do our part for justice. She encouraged our imaginative play, but engaged us also in kitchen table discussions about such harm as racism, colorism, and such beauty as the resilience of the Black woman and the vital role of elders. As an educator, she cared for and taught other people's children with just as much fervor, commitment, creativity, innovation, and thorough care as she did her own. And then there were aunties, Thelma, Odessa, Helen, Barbara, Deborah, all have planted me and helped me grow. And so may this poem be an homage to my own personal starseed women. We embody oceanic depths. We never needed anyone to tell the world who we are, as we've birthed and healed nations, and can tell that story on our own. Celestial circuits are wrapped in our curl pattern. Ceremony and song guide the stride. Indigenous ingenuity helps us to abide. We drift in river dreams, hoping that our ebb and our flow will someday be accepted like that of the status quo. But the past yielded blood-stained cotton, and the present delivers blood-filled Nikes, so what does the future hold? I don't know for sure, but I can tell you this. To devalue the Black woman would be remiss, as we are a necessary force for the healing of the planet. Black girl magic permeates and cultivates. It transforms and transcends. We echo the past and are the song of the future. Timeless and ancient, we are the evolution of sound from Ishe Olua Kole Pajeo to oh freedom, to all you must hold on to is you, is you, is you, right? Don't pick the parts of us that are comfy. No, you gotta take all this magic, honey. Indeed, it's good for the soul. No matter our plight, the magic is there. It stirs in our belly and lives in our hair. Thank you.
Creativity is the great solve, powerful, inspiring truth. Your loud is awesome. What does the future hold? Black women are a necessary force to heal the planet. Freedom is you. It stirs in our belly and lives in our hair. Don't pick the parts of us that are comfy. All that magic, sister. Those are your seeds, Lucia. Thank you. This time, we're gonna welcome our fourth story weaver, and after this, we'll be taking a brief intermission. Thank you.
Peace and blessings. My name is Olu F, and I would like to honor my ancestors whose shoulders I stand on. I give thanks for you and your sacrifices, your self-determination, and your resiliency. I give thanks. Give thanks to my mother, to my father, give thanks. I will be in silence for the remainder of this and just allow you to take time to look at these slides. And let's see if you can piece together my story. Because for too long, I've had to repeat it. I had to say it over and over again, but nobody would ever listen. So let's see if you can piece it together. Are you pulling those pieces together? Those images, those pictures, these images, these pictures, not only tell my story, but many stories of other Black women that did not get dealt a good card. The systems, the institutions that played a part, the policies, the laws, the government, everything that played a part. But you still couldn't stop anything. I broke those chains. I broke them. And from that, I was able to come out of and from nothing, right? According to you. But still, I stand here, right here, because of the shoulders of my ancestors who I stand on, because of that spiritual practice that I implement. It equals resiliency. It's in my DNA. I don't know nothing else. Remember, you too, Black girl, Black boy, unidentified gender, you too can still do the same thing. Just call on your ancestors. Implement that spiritual practice and be that flower that's coming from that crack of concrete. I give thanks. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Power is truly in the room, speaking over and over again and nobody listening. With what they understood as love. Now, can you piece together my story? Chills. Powerful to experience the story in silence. Resilient. Can a heart break and expand at the same time? Be that flower growing from concrete. Call on the ancestors. Powerful. Profound silence. I see you. Those are your seeds, Olu F Lewis. We see you. So at this time, I'm going to invite us to take a brief intermission. So go get water, use the bathroom, phone a friend, tell them to join us. We're also gonna drop the live link for this stream in the chat box just for y'all. If you've been enjoying it and you wanna invite your family, your friends, or whomever else to join us for the last half of our show tonight. It's our gift to you on this Hallows Eve, Samhain, however you acknowledge this time. Halloween might be canceled, but you can come chill and heal with us. I want to also remind you to look at your program. In the program, there's a lot of great information, not only about all of our story weavers on the lineup tonight, but also want to acknowledge all the great, amazing people that have had hands in making tonight happen and made tonight a success. I want to give a special thanks and acknowledgement to Jay Hill, who's producer, liaison for Asheville, PechaKucha Night Asheville. And we definitely give a lot of thanks for Jay's prowess on the production and technical side. Also, Megan Martell, who once again is moderating our comments, as well as many others that you will see listed in our slideshow that will be playing during intermission, and also in your program book. We also want to give thanks to Harper Spires, Erica Koffler, and the Co-work at Center for Craft team for hosting us and letting us this opportunity to gather together in person, which is a really special occasion for all of us as we've been being mindful of how we can hold space together. So thank you so much to them for that. And with that, I'm going to have us go into our intermission. So make sure you're back with us no later than 8:15, because if you're late, you're going to miss it. And be sure to share the link, the live link, with family, friends. Look through the program. You can hang out and look at the slideshow if you wish, but we'll see you soon. And make sure you take care of yourself, because we're expecting you back here in the same spot, because we have more to come. All right, thank you all for joining us. We'll be back. Enjoy your break.
Put some makeup on my face, yeah. Every single day just is the same. I am giving all to you in vain, but I guess I had it coming, so why should I complain? Why should I ever stop, ever stop? Why should I give you up, give you up? And when do I see myself every day? listen to them. Just follow the light. You're almost there. Just open your eyes. It's right there. Just follow the light. You're almost there. Just open your eyes. It's right there. Don't be afraid, be strong, you're not alone. Take a deep breath and realize
Welcome back, community. Hopefully you had a great break and had some good reflections on the stories and the messages you've heard so far. My name is Cortina Janelle, for those that have just joined, and keep in mind that there is a link in your comment box down below for you to drop your seeds, which means what resonates with you, what are you curious about, what are you grateful for? How are you telling the story weaver that you just heard from that I see you, I hear you? So continue to do that as people are sharing. You don't have to wait until the end, but at the end of every story weaver, as we've been doing, I'll reflect those seeds back to the story weaver that we've just heard from. You also have the program guide, and I think also now a link to this live stream that you can share with family and friends if you want them to join in. And that's what I have for you. So without further ado, we're gonna welcome on our we're at fifth story weaver for this evening.
Hey, Queen. Grand rising to you, this version of you that greets me in the here and now. I am your sister friend, your sorrow queen, your fellow soldier, your coven healer, your woman warrior. Welcome, sister queen. I came forth into this world born Michelle Brigida, born to the mother I chose, Sandra Amalia Aguilar, born to the father who heeded the call, Ricardo Alfonso Davis. Mama is on the other side of the veil now, but she still watches over me. She still watches over me, over you, and over us. I came forth under the gibbous moon in the wee hours of the morning, ready and not quite ready. I was still debating, should I come? But then I thought of you. I am your sister, come forth from the legacy of Grandmother Odessa and Grandmother Winifred. I have come from the burnt smell of Palo Santo, and I have swam in the elixirs of ginger tea and turmeric root off the shores of Venezuela and Grenada, the tribal lands of Panama. I have traveled near and far, over and through the crumbled buildings of Colón, swam up the keys of Florida, and drove up 95 North to bask in the dirt and grime of New York City. I am your shadow, your song, your heartbreak, and your rejoice. I am the voice that you hear deep in your heart, the lingered thought that settles in your soul. I've climbed the mountains of fear and walked through the valleys of the shadow of death, and yet I'm here to tell you, we shall fear no evil. I've slept often with doubt wrapped around me, smiling through the tears, and I almost turned back, hand on the doorknob, 12 years old, but I didn't. I didn't because I saw your face and I heard your voice. And so I walked back down the cracked and peeled walls, halls to my small, very, very small room. I walked back to the harsh words, the sadness, and the disappointment. And I kept walking through the hours, the days, the months, and the years. Hey, Queen, but I'm here. And let me tell you, that walk was long and hard, soft and sweet. windy and wondrous. Oh, but don't fret. I walked through the 7-year marriage and walked right out that damn door. Yes, lucky number 7. I guess the knife coming at my head was a clue. And I learned nothing was worth this one precious life. And oh, those windy roads, yes, I walked them too. Down the dark road of doubt and despair, wondering constantly, who am I and do I fit in? The answers were coming, and they were coming quick. You see, I walked. I was gathering stones, and I was gathering wood, and I was gathering water. And as I walked further, I began to drop my stones shiny and smooth from the countless times of rubbing them against my heart. And as I walked, I used my woods of words to keep me grounded and to build my fortress with a swinging door, because you gotta know when to let people come in and when to let them go. Oh, and the water, that be my water well of tears. The tears that I shed, my mama shed, her mama shed, and everybody else. But don't worry, because those tears quench my thirst and they support my journey. It's my living water. And it gives me strength. It keeps me remembering why I'm here. Queen, I'm so glad I came, and I'm glad you're here too, because I wanted to share. I wanted to share some of my stones of wisdom shared from my heart. While you warm your feet by my fire made from my wood and sip on this tea sprung from the tears of experiences gathered. I've traveled a bit of road now, but I've still got a way to go. But I wanted to let you know and answer those questions, the ones I see hidden in your heart. I see you, I hear you, and I love you. Those answers we so often seek around the corner, in the next relationship, the next city, or the next job. Yeah, those questions. But here's what I'm gonna tell you, Queen. Straighten your crown, because you are more than worthy. You have always been worthy. Your life is valuable, and it more than matters. I know the road is hard, and I know sometimes it feels like you can't go on. Hey, Queen. But you can. Just hold on. We're gonna be meeting you when you get there, because we're gathering stones for you too. Born Michelle Brigida, but rooted in this space, Mishagni Kripa, one who is like God moving with fire and grace.
Hey, Queen. That smile is healing. The lingered thought that settles in your soul, that we shall fear no evil. Long, hard, soft, sweet, windy, wondrous. It's my living water. I see you, I hear you, and I love you. The well of my tears that quench your thirst. You have always been worthy, like God moving with fire and grace. You are my magic garden, Sister Queen. Those are your seeds. Michelle Ashley. All right, y'all. So it's so wild that this time has already arrived. We are at our final, but certainly not least, story weaver. And I'm not sure if anybody else has noticed the pattern of how we've moved through time, but we've kind of aged backwards a little bit. I'm not going to call out ages. We don't do numbers. But just to say that we have a very powerful and important voice that we wanted to make sure that we save for last. So with that, let's welcome on our sixth story weaver for the evening.
Hello, my name is Miranda Williams, and I'll be sharing my life story with you all for the next 6 minutes. Okay, so my name is Miranda Williams. I go to Asheville High School. I'm a senior now. I wasn't born in Asheville, but I've been here for a while. I moved here when I was in first grade. I was born in Florida, Fort Myers, Florida, and something that interests me, I would say, is social justice all around in every aspect. An important quote I like to live by is, don't go through life, grow through life. I feel like it's something that I would have loved if someone would have told me when I was young and I was still developing, going through my adolescence period, but I'll tell it to you all now. So to begin with, me and my mom moved to Asheville in around, let's see, I want to say 2009, 2010, so around that frame. And we lived in this like apartment place. It's like over there by Mission. And we lived there for a brief, there it is. Oh, well, it's up here, it won't be up there yet. So we lived there for a while before we moved to Western Ministries, which is what you saw in that first slide. And that is, if you don't know, it's a homeless shelter. And that picture that you saw was actually took the other day, and it was the first time I had been back. And so as we talk about trauma tonight and addressing that, I had to address my own because I ignored it for so long. Ashton Park, that bench that you see right there, I've slept on it, and that was the first time I went to see it. And for the sake of their privacy, there was other people sleeping on it. And that broke my heart because almost 10 years later, people still use that bench to sleep. I want to leave you with another quote. You must have a level of disconnect to feel the urge to want to grow. I had to be uncomfortable where I was to want to become the person I am. I had to be dissatisfied with where I was in my life. So let's put this at 5-6 months later, we moved to Piscaview Apartments. Actually, this was my old home. And these types of area comes with their own trauma. They carry their own weight. It made me different in a way. You know, from being in the shelter, I was quiet. I didn't really interact with people, and I still didn't. And I knew I was different, and that was okay. It was okay with me. So then this quote on the screen, the only way we can live is if we grow. The only way we can grow is if we change. You have to be that change. Even if other kids are doing something, you have to decide what you want to prioritize and where you want to go. And so that's where I am now. As a social scientist, I study social science a lot. So everyone knows that a child's environment is a direct reflection of their behavior, and I began to reflect like my environment. My actions reflected my environment. So I had to stop. And then this quote, you can stop the future, you can rewind the past. The only way to learn the secret is to press play. I had to keep going. I made mistakes just like everyone else, but there was no time to turn back and rewind the clock, so I had to find out what was next for me. So I'm happy to announce that now in 2020, I let my past define me in the best ways. I am more involved in my community than I ever have been. I am a dual enrollment student at Asheville AB Tech. I am a regular part-time employee. I'm a doula. I am a racial equity ambassador. I help with the Regal Learning Pods. I do everything that I can to help and give back because I remember what it felt like to need someone to give back. So, in conclusion, oh, this is a really good quote too, keep your ambitions away from people who belittle you. So in conclusion, I will continue to do what I do for as long as I can, no matter how tired I am, because for every one Black girl there is like me addressing my trauma and dealing with my problems, there's 10 more who haven't even begun to acknowledge that they're going through trauma. Okay, and then this quote, my last quote that I'll leave you with, no one has ever achieved greatness without dreams. So I had to dream about where I wanted to go, and at first, that's all it seems like is a dream, but now I'm happy to announce that I'm on my way to college, so don't know where yet, but I've got my applications in and it's looking really good. I've had a nice, strong support team to help me through this entire process with letters of recommendations and applications and everything, and overall, I'm blessed to be in such circles with such strong Black women, so thank you all.
Grow through life. Bravely stepping back into the trauma of the past. Becoming the person I am. The endless possibilities of education. Precious strength. Fierce commitment. Keep your ambitions. Dreaming life forward. Inspiring courage. You are everything you were destined to be, and there's so much more greatness ahead for you. You are the essence of yes. Power in your voice, power in your future. We are blessed to have you at Asheville High School, and the world is blessed to have you. Love from Miss Kim. And those are your seats, Miranda. Thank you all so much for joining us for this very special event. At this time, I want to welcome back on, in the order that you all saw and heard from these amazing, beautiful Black queens, Anlee Waite, Sasha Mitchell, And we can clap. We can clap. We can clap. We can clap in here. Yes! Let's make noise. Lucia Doherty. Olu F. Lewis. Michelle Ashley. Woo, 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 woo. And Miranda Williams. So thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. Please definitely check out your program for how to stay in touch with these amazing community leaders, fierce warriors, spiritual activists, healers, facilitators, ambassadors, and everything else they do with the world on their shoulders. And I honestly give thanks for each of these amazing human beings that honor me with their presence. I want to also give thanks and acknowledge, again, PechaKucha Night Asheville for their amazing support, production, prowess. Yes. I think we might have another one in us. I don't know. Let's just plant the seed. We're planting seeds, right? We're planting seeds. And then also, of course, co-work at Center for Craft for their support and allowing us to be in this space. And then all of you amazing community members, leaders. I know a few of our dear friends in our community have already messaged me with so much love. And yeah, so we see y'all. We love you so much. Thank you for supporting this first event of this kind, which kind of was an experiment for all of us. But we are really proud and grateful for this moment. And please go vote. That's what I got for you. Good night. That's it. Thank y'all.